Lao Tsu, who was he? Lao Tsu lived about 600 BCE. The name Lao Tsu is really not his name. It was or is actually an honorific meaning old master. Lao Tsu was reluctant to write down his teachings and his concepts for a very well-grounded fear. Lao Tsu was afraid that if he wrote down his wisdom, which was all about how to live in the flow of life, the Tao, simply, in a very simple concept, means flow, to live in the flow. He had great concern that if he wrote down his ideas, that they would become rigid dogma and creed. Does that sound like religion? Yeah. So often people will come into unity, and I suppose into religious science, with the same thought, which is they don't want organized religion. Now, a lot of us in unity and religious science like to say, well, you found the right place because we're not very organized. That's not actually true of the Unity Center. We tend to be a very organized community, but what's really meant by that is that we're not rigid, we're not dogmatic. Lao Tsu was very wise in his concern that if his concepts, his philosophy of the way of life were to be written down, that maybe it would become too crystallized and people would lose the essence of what it was he was trying to teach. He resisted the idea so much so, and toward the end of his life, he became so disappointed and disenchanted with his fellow men and women who didn't seem to be getting the concepts he was teaching. A little bit like Jesus' frustration with the disciples who never quite understood that his mission was not to set up an earthly kingdom, but was really to teach a way of consciousness and a way of life. Well, Lao Tsu had become disenchanted in a very similar way, and the legend is that he was leaving the kingdom, going through the desert on a white buffalo, leaving everything behind, and as he was just getting ready to go out the gates, the gatekeeper stopped him and begged him to put his ideas in writing. And we have out of that, whether it's legend or not, what is called the Tao Te Ching. It is the essential teachings of Lao Tsu. There are a little over 80 verses. The Tao Te Ching is, other than the Bible, the most translated sacred text on the planet. It's very brief in content and very deep in meaning and in application. My favorite translation of the Tao Te Ching is one that was translated by Stephen Mitchell. I believe we have these in the bookstore. If not, we can get them for you if you want to pursue the teachings of Taoism a little bit further on your own. About 2 years ago, I think it was a 6 or 8 week series on the Tao Te Ching. So understandably, this morning I can only give you a taste of it, but I hope to give you a taste of some of the most important parts of it that are really very practical and very relevant to living life right now. I have read the Tao Te Ching many times, and there seem to me to be 3 essential themes that emerge from the Tao Te Ching. Those 3 themes are, number 1, the importance of observing nature and nature's laws and learning from those laws. The second theme seems to be the idea of self-mastery, that we are meant to work first and foremost on ourselves. And the third theme seems to be a theme of patience, of understanding that there is a flow to life and things do take time.